Jovian Infrared Auroral Mapper. Jovian Infrared Auroral Mapper JURIM is an instrument on the Juno spacecraft in orbit of the planet Jupiter. It is an image spectrometer and was contributed by Italy. Similar instruments are on ESA Rosetta, Venus Express, and Cassini-Huygens missions. The primary goal of JURIM is to probe the upper layers of Jupiter's atmosphere down to pressures of 57 bars 72, 102 pounds/square inch at infrared wavelengths in the 2–5 mm interval using NM. The Jupiter's atmosphere and auroral regions are targeted for study. In particular, it has been designed to study the dynamics and chemistry in the atmosphere, perhaps determining how Jovian hotspots form. H+3 ions, ammonia, and phosphine can be mapped. The ion of hydrogen H+3 is rare on Earth, but is one of the most common ions in the universe and known as protonated molecular hydrogen or the trihydrogen cationion. Despite the intense magnetosphere of Jupiter, the JURIM is expected to be operational for at least the first 8 orbits. Previously, Jupiter was observed by an infrared imaging spectrometer called NIMS Near-Infrared Mapping Spectrometer on the Galileo Jupiter Orbiter. JURIM was used to observe Earth during its flyby en route to Jupiter. These observations were used to help calibrate the instrument, and the lunar observations were actually a critical planned step in preparing the instrument for observations at Jupiter. The polar orbit of the Juno mission permits to get unprecedented observations of the planet. In particular, the polar regions that were never observed before Juno can be observed with high spatial resolution. On August 27, 2016, JURIM observed Jupiter at infrared wavelengths. The first science observation in space was conducted on Earth's moon in October 2013. The JURIM project was started by Professor Angioletta Corradini, however she died in 2011. The instrument was developed from Leonardo under the directions and supervision of the Institute for Space Astrophysics and Planetary IAPS, which is part of the Italian National Institute for Astrophysics, and was funded. Dr. Alberto Adriani of IAPS is presently the responsible of the JURIM project. In March 2018, results from JURIM were released showing both the north and south poles have a central cyclone surrounded by addition cyclones. The north cycle was surrounded by 8 cyclones, while the southern cyclone was surrounded by 5. By this time, Juno had completed 10 close passes for science observations since arriving in Jupiter's orbit on July 4, 2016. The first science pass occurred on August 28, 2016, and JURIM was operated during that pass. Various results, including a 3D movie of flyover of the North Pole of Jupiter with JURIM data, were released at the European Geosciences Union General Assembly in April 2018. Specifications: mass 8 kg 17.6 pounds, 1.259 stones, max power use 16.7 watts, 0.7 watts, 0.7 watts, observation range 2–5 micron wavelength light. Observations: